Hello, everyone. It's been it probably hasn't been that long since I've uploaded a podcast episode, but it's been a while since we recorded one. As always, I'm joined
100
by
years.
what?
You heard me.
I actually didn't.
It's been 400 years since our last podcast.
It's been a while. I haven't uploaded one in a long time. It's almost like the one I was waiting to upload still isn't in the Google Doc. Wonder how that could have happened.
Look, look, I wiped my PC, and so I have no editing software right now.
Okay, look, Nate, you can't say anything, seeing as the last Nuzlocke episode you uploaded, we were talking about pandemic things.
I told you not to date that episode in the description of the episode. We're bleeping that out.
Well.
We're not admitting to anything. There's no evidence. None.
It's like 2 years old.
There's no proof. It's not true.
I still love that we did a Halloween podcast, and then it came out in like December of the year after.
No. It came out in Halloween. It's fine. None of these things are accurate. Enough time has passed that I can say when it came out, and it's fine. I mean, no time has passed. We did it last week. Regardless of time and its relativity, I'm joined by Valhalla and Smoothbrain as always. We're not talking about how inconsistent our uploads are.
No, instead we're talking about if you hear some weird noises in the background, I'm sorry.
No. See, I'm not inconsistent. I consistently don't upload.
Yes, I'm aware, and of the three of us, I consistently upload the most. I don't say I upload the best quality, but I do upload the most. And that's beside the point. That's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is memorable moments in media. Any kind of media. Doesn't matter what it is. I got this idea because I was listening to podcasts, as I do. As you all know, I consume media like a starving man.
Listen to podcasts?
I do.
No.
I do. I consume media like a starving man in the desert who stumbles upon an unattended banquet. I literally don't do silence, so I'm always consuming some kind of media. Because, as I have often said, silence is too loud. I don't like it.
You don't like being alone with your thoughts?
I don't. They're horrible, horrible things. But I was actually saying why I thought of this podcast before I got distracted. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about Resident Evil because apparently, and I didn't even know that this had come out, they rebooted the Resident Evil film franchise on a streaming only movie called Welcome to Raccoon City, which is apparently like the whole new cinematic universe for Resident Evil where they just smooshed everything together in one movie. And I really want to see this now, but what it made me think of was that moment in Resident Evil 5 where you get the quick time event to have Chris punch a boulder out of the way. That scene is so ludicrous that it is the only thing I can remember from Resident Evil 5. I remember nothing else, but I will never forget him punching that boulder. Because it's so ridiculous, and it is Resident Evil to a T. That is such a Resident Evil thing to do, and I love that. But that got me to thinking about other memorable moments in media, and I was like, oh, this would be a great thing to talk about with the guys. So here we are. I realize that neither one of you has consumed as much media as me, but I'm sure you've consumed some, right?
Yeah, definitely. The guy that doesn't watch movies definitely has consumed lots of media.
Well, you've played lots of video games.
I suppose this is true. No, not really.
Read comic books.
Actually, I don't read comic books.
I know you have in the past.
No, not really. I've consumed a fair amount of anime, but I don't really read the comic or the manga.
Well, anime counts as media.
The more that I learn of Kevin, the more I feel like we need to help him discover something other than cards to spend his time on.
I would love to do some, like, streams of us watching media with Kevin and just either doing commentary or talking about it, because I think that would be incredibly entertaining.
It would. The problem is we couldn't show the media, so we'd have to tell people, like, hey, come at a certain time and watch it on their own, and it would just be us doing a riff track, right?
Yeah, but I mean, other people have done that kind of thing before. We could also just do. We could just watch it and then do a conversation afterwards about what we thought of it or Kevin's experience with it. But that is a plan for another time, which, might happen one day, just like that day when we all decide that we're going to do and cook something crazy. Plans within plans that we may one day do.
I don't know what you're talking about cooking something crazy. I was talking about cooking fucking baked onions for you.
No, the Cajun thing. We are completely off topic. We've been talking for like 5 minutes already. We haven't talked about a single media moment besides the one I used as an example.
When the fuck are we ever on topics? Like, seriously.
Once or twice. I think we talked about Pokemon a couple of times in the Nuzlocke. Maybe.
I don't think so.
I'd have to go back
The
and
only
check.
time we ever talk about Pokemon during the Nuzlocke is usually about how Nate doesn't understand Pokemon.
That is an accurate description of the Nuzlocke already. That's what it probably should have been the subtitle for the whole thing. But not relevant. Media moments. Will, can you think of any? Give me a moment from any kind of media that you remember and you probably will always remember.
Well, there's always the first time I played Halo, and you get off of the Pillar of Autumn, and the first time you actually see like Halo. I still remember the first time I saw that. Just the like, holy shit, this is just a different kind of game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Combat Evolved was a singular thing in gaming at the time. Man, that game still holds up.
That it does.
Yeah, Combat Evolved was great. Fantastic. Also, kind of the start of the horrible multiplayer games and interactions, but that's a different problem.
I don't think that was Combat Evolve. I think that came later, really.
No,
Just
I played a
Nature's
lot of
Force.
I played a lot of multiplayer Combat Evolved, and it was the same kind of stuff that you get on like frickin' Valorant and stuff now. It was all the same kind of BM and all that kind of stuff.
That's just the nature of online gaming, though.
You're not wrong. Kevin, from your limited experience with media, give me something.
Probably the first time discovering that eel at the bottom of the pirate level in Super Mario 64.
Oh, yeah, that eel.
Like, lunges out at you, and you start, 8-year-old me was shitting his pants.
Yeah. I remembered it being so scary, and then when I went back to play it when it was remade, and I'm just like, oh, it's not that bad.
That, as well as, I will always remember this scene, when you have to fight the dead hand at the bottom of the temple in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
That straight up gave me nightmares.
Yeah, I think
You walk into the room, and there's all those hands sitting around in a circle. That, I had vivid, nightmares of that for, probably 2 to 3 weeks.
I think we shared a picture of
terrifying.
that during our Halloween episode that came out in December.
Oh, fuck. I don't know why this just came to my mind.
Yeah.
But I do remember one thing in movies that I will never forget.
Yeah.
Secret of Nim, the fucking owl, when he first comes in with the cobwebs on him.
Yeah.
I had
wonder why.
nightmares for months.
I wonder why the
I
arachnophobia
still will have
was
nightmares
afraid
of it
that.
from time to time.
That movie had such a dark aesthetic, though.
Oh.
There's literally a
Correct.
murder in that movie. Several, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
man.
not okay with that.
Oh, dude, a really memorable moment in movies was when Clayton dies in Tarzan. That was a terrifying scene.
Oh, I'd love that scene.
No,
As a child,
I hated it.
As a child, I never picked up on it. I was like, oh yeah, shadow. And then as I was later, I was like, oh, that's the silhouette of I don't know. I picked it up as a kid. Man, I was dumb.
Yeah.
So I got it right as a kid. I remember watching him thrashing around going like, "You idiot! Fucking neck! You idiot!" Oh.
Cheering for the bad guy.
I was cheering for him to at least get out of it, and when he did, I was disappointed in him because up until that point, he wasn't like a stupid villain. He was decently smart.
There's a lot of
Some level
like,
of competence.
yeah, there's a lot of really dramatic like villain parts in movies that I remember. And because the old cartoon movies were always really dramatic and they were always really unforgiving to their villains.
Yes.
So, like, I still remember in Snow White when the witch falls into the ravine. Because the scene is like, the music is really loud, there's a thunderstorm happening. And then she's, like, running away from the dwarves and falls in with, like, the crescendo. I'm like, oh, she dead. Ursula getting speared by the ship.
Yes, when that bitch is like, bitch meat boat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she literally gets impaled. Like, that is some crazy stuff. I watched the Black Cauldron, and the villain is literally a Lich King.
I loved that. I also have, so I have a really weird obsession with liches. I fucking love the idea of them, and I have since I was a kid, so I thought they were so fucking cool in the Black Cauldron.
I mean, his design was sick. He looked really cool. That movie did really poorly, but it was really, really well animated, as a lot of the old ones are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also will always remember when Rupert dies in the Quest for Camelot, when he like stabs the stone with Excalibur, and then he's like laughing maniacally as his body evaporates.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that.
Yeah, literally the time he's being torn apart, and he's just laughing maniacally. And I was like, well, that is straight up concerning. Oh man.
Oh, little toaster?
You know what? That didn't actually get me. I completely forgot about that. Because to me,
Really?
all of the memories of the Brave Little Toaster that I have are of the second one where they go to Mars. Because that was the one my mom had taped for us on VHS and we watched it over and over and over again. I had seen the first one, but the first one never, like, stuck with me.
The first one has some incredibly like somber moments.
It does,
only
but they just
thing
went
I
right over my
remember-
head.
The only thing I remember about the first one is the vacuum cleaner killing himself.
It wasn't the vacuum cleaner, it was the air conditioner.
No, the vacuum cleaner kills himself.
Nope, he does not.
No, it's the air conditioner. The vacuum cleaner like pseudo fails to save everyone and they fall off the cliff, and then there's like that really awkward scene as he just kind of like looks down and kind of wheels himself away.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the air
Oh.
conditioner like blows himself up at the beginning, but then he gets fixed later, so he's actually fine. There is that song all about the pawn shop where all of them are talking about dying. No, there's a part at the wrecking yard where the cars are singing
Yeah.
about accepting their deaths.
Yeah, like they're singing about how they're past their expiration date and they're just waiting for death.
Yeah, and they're being crushed into cubes.
Fuck. I just looked it up. You're right, it was the AC.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always think it's the vacuum.
No, that movie goes from ha kids movie to like borderline terrifying sometimes.
The
That
thing-
clown scene, dear God,
Yeah, the run.
why?
But as a kid, I didn't get any of that stuff. Like, I can tell now that the illustrators must have been, like, freaking clinically depressed or something. But as a kid, all of that went right over my head. Like, the part at the pawn shop about him, like, taking their parts to fix other ones, the cars accepting death at the end, didn't get any of that. Didn't get it
Nate.
at all.
Nate,
Yeah.
were you a bit dumb as a kid?
No, I just didn't understand sadness yet.
Oh, I see you're making up for lost time now, eh?
I mean, as a child, my family didn't really interact with death at all until I was like 24. So, yeah, that wasn't my like first go-to when I was watching these old cartoons.
Nice. That is nice that it wasn't a problem for you.
It just gives me a different perspective in some things. Like now it's completely different. I've become jaded and cynical. But at the time, I wasn't really confronted with it in a real setting. It was all from cartoons. I mean, to be fair, in the cartoons, they really don't pull their punches. in some of the old cartoons. I still remember, like, again, I didn't get it at the time, but I remember being really depressed. Have you guys ever watched The Rescuers? The first one?
Yeah.
They, like, throw the little girl into the diamond mine as it's filling up with water? Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a bit concerning. I
Do
didn't
you
really...
remember when you found out about the naughty image in The Rescuers?
Oh, yeah, I remember when I found out about that.
I remember when I found out about that, and the hours I spent going through that tape and finding it.
For those who don't know, in the VHS release of the original Rescuers, there's a part where they're flying through the city, and one of the, I guess it would have been the animators, stuck a picture of boobs in one of the windows that's only there for one frame.
It's a topless woman, and it's like it's old school CRT quality. So it's just roughly flesh toned. You can't see anything, but it's there.
Yeah, it's there
And,
in the original VHS releases.
Yep, I was like, horny kid, like, oh, there's a chance to see tits. I gotta find them.
That's his memorable moment.
It's just not really, because oh boy, I did not find them.
Dude, now all I can think about is all of the comeuppances that happen to villains in old movies. Like, fricking, at the end of the third Aladdin movie, the guy grabs the hand of Midas and gets turned into a gold statue. Oh, jeez. And then he falls into the water and you watch his body go down into the bottom of the ocean and just clunks on the bottom. I remember as a kid, I was like, oh man, that's like the worst way to die ever.
Right, the worst way.
Yeah, I was a kid at the time, and the thought of being trapped in gold at the bottom of the ocean was just really terrifying to me.
Yeah, I think that's a couple of phobias wrapped into one.
Yeah, it kind of is. The end of The Pebble and the Penguin, I remember being like really creepy when he's like fighting with Drake. Oh, they killed a lot of villains.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with that.
As you do.
Yeah, no, that is the way of it. And the villains were also a lot eviler back then. There wasn't like the whole redeeming villain; they were just bad. Like the villain in the second Rescuers was literally about to feed a child to alligators with a crane. So
Yeah, they were evil for the sake of being evil. You weren't supposed to find them redeemable or like, oh, I can see where this guy's coming from. No, it's you love to hate them.
yeah, no, he's literally gonna kill this guy so that he can poach giant eagles. It's gonna be great. He has no issues with child murder.
Yep. As you do.
Yeah, I mean, Scar gets devoured by hyenas, which I always was like, oh no, but I like the hyenas better than Scar, so I was okay with it.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And he ultimately gets skinned and shows up in Hercules.
I don't think that's
That's true.
canon, but yeah, okay.
What do you mean not canon? It's in the movie.
His skin is literally in Hercules.
Yes, I know it is, but the skin is actually supposed to be the skin of the lion that he kills in the 12 Tasks of Hercules, which I can't remember the name of. It's like the something...
The Nemean lion.
That's the
Median
one.
lion,
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but also you got to realize that movie is so horrifically inaccurate. It's
Yes,
hilarious.
I know. There's a YouTube video all about how inaccurate it is, but who cares? It's a great movie.
I recently watched that YouTube video and it was awesome.
It's a great
Watching
video.
him
It's a
go
great
through it
video.
all.
But also, the Hercules movie is one of the best Disney movies. The guy who voices Hercules, I can't remember his name, or not the guy who voices Hercules, the guy who voices Hades.
Yes.
He is so funny. Is that Jeffrey Irons?
I have no idea. I don't care about voice actors.
I gotta give him his credit. Give me a second. No, I don't care about... Who the heck is Hades Supergiant?
Oh.
Oh, for the love of... There's a video game called Hades. James Woods. That's his name. James Woods.
Interesting.
Shout out to James.
Yeah, he's great. Okay. Jeremy Irons was the voice of Scar. That's what I'm confusing here.
Another good voice.
Yes, fantastic. Also, Frollo, best Disney villain of all time, he dies by falling into lava, which they somehow had stocked in Notre Dame.
Well, yeah. You know, you always got to keep some lava around.
Yeah, apparently.
Who knows what would happen if you don't have your tactical lava?
That ending part, too, was so, like, dramatic and kind of terrifying as a kid. I can remember exactly what he says when he's about to die, like when he's like holding the sword and he's gonna like kill Quasimodo when the thing breaks. That scene was good. It's a good scene. I'm visualizing it now. Okay, back to memorable video game moments though, because I just thought of a great one. Did either of you play BioShock? The original one?
Nope.
What about you, Will?
Yeah.
So, I mean, spoilers for a game that came out, like, what, 20 years ago now? But, they're halfway through the game. You finally meet the person who made Rapture, the city in BioShock, Andrew Ryan. And it's a cutscene where you find out that the guy that's been guiding you this whole time has been controlling you with the phrase, "Would you kindly?" And he tells you to kill Ryan. And Ryan has this entire speech about how you have the choices to make your own decisions in life. And then the game gives you control back to your character. And it's like, oh, I get to choose what happens next. You don't get to choose what happens next. You're given a golf club, and your only option is to bludgeon him to death with it.
Yep.
And the game makes you do it, otherwise you cannot progress the game. You don't just, like, hit a button and the cutscene continues. You have to continuously melee him.
Yeah. There's other games which have whiffed at the end like that. A great one is the very first God of War. In the very end of the first God of War, you're actually brought into first person for a bit of a cutscene where you see some things happening. But it totally misses the mark, because the whole idea of bringing you into first person would be bringing you into Kratos' head. But as soon as you do, it's all cutscenes, so you're not controlling them, so it's not you in his head anymore. You're the most disconnected from him than you've been all game.
Well, the BioShock one I actually think worked really well, because first off, it made me really uncomfortable. Because it's like, it's forcing you to kill this guy that you've just met in the game. But the whole time it's telling you that you have a choice, but really you don't have one. And it was the first time that a video game had done that. I mean, they've done it since then, and they've probably done it before, but it was the first time that I saw it in a mainstream game. And to me, that's why the scene is memorable. Because you come in, and he gives you this whole speech about how a man chooses his destiny, but a slave obeys other people. And then he literally keeps saying that as you're beating him to death.
And you're a slave to the mechanics.
You literally are. That's the point they're making. Also, in the second game, there's a statue of Andrew Ryan, and if you use your telekinesis to throw a golf club at it, you get an achievement. Because references. But yeah, that was a memorable scene for those reasons. It kind of stuck with me because it was really uncomfortable. It's like, I could just not continue the game, but I want to know what happens. Guess I gotta give this guy's noggin a flogging.
Time to log in a flogging to poggin.
Not what you said, what Ned Flanders said, yeah.
I don't know this mystical Ned Flanders you talk of.
You gonna tell me that you have no memorable moments associated with The Simpsons? Because
I do not.
I have many a song stuck in my head from The Simpsons from days of old. The Simpsons was one of the only shows I got away with watching that really wasn't appropriate for my age group.
Yeah?
Because my dad thought it was funny. Because it is, or was. I don't know about now, but, you know.
I never really got into The Simpsons.
I mean, they're... Realistically, the first 10 seasons are quite funny. Like, they're pretty good. They've got some very good episodes. the writing is pretty good. I mean, like any show, there's going to be high and low points, but
Yeah, it's just I don't know. By the time I watched The Simpsons, even going back and watching the original seasons that are the best,
yeah.
it's always still been something where I just never really cared that much. I just could not get it. Like, I'll have a laugh here and a laugh there, but I've never gotten into it on the level of most people I know.
It's fair. I mean, there's a bunch of great songs from that, though. The Stonecutters song is fantastic. I like the whole episode where Apu quits the Quickie Mart was really, very memorable at the time. The monorail one. There's a lot of great songs in the early seasons of The Simpsons. They're quite catchy. Oh, excuse me. I made the mistake of eating Manchu Wok today.
Oh, I'm jealous.
That's memorable in the wrong way. One thing I remember. Mm-hmm. So I used to go to movies a lot. I still try to go, but a lot of people I know don't particularly like in-person movies. But I still remember going to see The Phantom Menace in theaters. And the first time Duel of the Fates plays when they're having the 3-way lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
Yeah, that one's definitely good.
Yeah.
So I have a completely different kind of one that I still remember.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, I started reading this one book series, and it had 9 really good books, and I read through them. I read up to the first 7, and then as the other ones came out, I followed along. And then there was no new books in the series for 4 years or 5 years. It was quite a while.
Yeah.
And then I heard online, oh hey, he wrote another book. Oh, I'm like, I should go, give that a read. It'll probably be good. Oh, and it's going to be the last in the series. He's saying he's not going to be writing it anymore. He's leaving them away, yada yada. I'm like, oh, so it's going to be the swan song to the series. That's great. They wrapped up a bunch of stuff in the last one, but there's still room for the series to go on, right?
Yeah.
And in the first chapter of the first book, he murders the love interest from the main part of the series. Makes the main guy, who was this super chipper dude who he went through hell and back, but always believed the best things were going to happen, into this crotchety, angry drunk who murders people on a whim just because he's so fed up at the world. A bunch of other characters, which they weren't main characters, but they were characters which had a lot of screen times in them. If he didn't just kill them off screen and give them no goodbye, he gave them these awful, torturous, horrific deaths. One of the characters dies to essentially dysentery, and it's horrific for such a character that was just a really cool character through the series. A bunch of other characters who it was implied they had there's an alarm going off outside. So there's they implied that eventually they had their happily ever after. No, they didn't get that. They just suffered alone for the next 10 years.
So memorable, but in the wrong way. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I read the first 2 chapters and I'm like, what the fuck? I've never felt so betrayed by a series.
Oh jeez. All right, Kevin, you got another one for us?
Another memorable moment?
Yes, from anything.
I'm such a boring person.
Stop trying to make that your thing.
It's not a positive memorable moment. It's probably going to shift the conversation, but I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that godforsaken Ugandan Knuckles meme for as long as I live. Because that shit survived 8 months longer than it fucking should have, and then you clowns never shut the hell up about it.
Look, here's the problem with memes. Is I am such a boomer when it comes to the internet that I don't pick up memes until they've been dead for a year.
I'm aware.
I'm
just saying.
I didn't see the song that those people made about Ugandan Knuckles.
Yeah, I'm well aware of it. Everyone knows of it. It's got 30 billion views on it.
I didn't know about it until after it already had 20 million. So you got to give me time to enjoy it too, all right?
No.
Oh man, I loved that. I also love that we brought that into a D&D session.
Oh, you all deserve to go to jail. I'm so glad that character died.
It's fair enough.
Oh.
Honestly, I hadn't thought about that thing in a while, so if it comes back again, it's not my fault. I had forgotten. So we'll just have to hope that I forget again.
Now, you know what you need to do, right?
No.
You need to make sure that there's Uganda Knuckles on the image for this.
No.
I like the thumbnail.
No, it's fine.
Draw Kevin as
No.
Knuckles.
Kevin has suffered enough. We can let it die.
No.
It's fine. Negative memories are a good shout, too, because I just thought of... Whenever I think of Digimon, this comes back to me. So, I didn't have cable as a kid. We had 3 channels, but my friend had cable. So I would go to his house to watch cartoons. So I sporadically watched Digimon. Series 2 of Digimon was great. I was watching it. I thought Black Greymon was cool. I thought Mummymon was cool. I thought all of them were cool. I saw the second to last episode where they're fighting Malomyotismon. Turns out he's the big bad guy.
Oh, yeah, that's really bad.
The episode ends with XVmon getting back up and running to fight him, and then I had to go home. So I never got to see part 2. Fast forward 15 years. I'm an adult. I have the internet. I figure, you know what? It's been long enough. I'm going to see how that episode ended. That was a mistake.
Yep. Might as well just made up your own ending.
I should have
made up your own ending.
I have never regretted closure so much in my life. Because when I saw the end of the episode, what happens is they're in like this world that was opened up by the like dreams of children, so they figure out that they can use the power of children's dreams to win. So literally they like start having the kids talk about their hopes and dreams, and one of the kids says like, I want to sell noodles. I want to be a doctor. And Malomyotismon's arm just explodes. And they just keep talking about what they plan to do in the future, and that's how they beat him, with hopes and dreams.
That's pretty lame. That's pretty damn lame.
Undertale, eat your heart out.
I really wish I had never gone back. I wish I had never gone back.
I liked Digimon as a kid, but boy, I can't watch any of it now as an adult.
I ruined it by getting closure. That's just so depressing. It makes for a good story, though. I also found out that the end of Digimon that I had seen, the original series, was also not the ending. So I was really good at not seeing the ending of anything, because all I saw for the first series was they had a VHS at the library of when they fight Piedmon, and then they, like, stick Piedmon through, like, Magna Angemon's gate, and then they're like, we did it, we defeated the Dark Masters, yay! And I was like, oh, that's the end, they won. Turns out there was a whole other bad guy after that.
Damn.
And he has, like, the best villain speech, because he literally, in the English dub, says,
oh, no.
Why do you get the pizza and all I ever get is the crust?
You know, that is pretty damn good.
That's part of his villain speech in the dub. In the Japanese one, he talks about the pointlessness of life and how death is inevitable. But in the English dub, he just wants to have a piece of pizza.
I kind of love that. I do. I kind of miss the old days of the really bad translations, because you got some fucking amazing things out of that.
I made a sandwich as he holds a rice ball.
Yep.
You want to share these jelly donuts with me?
Jelly donuts, yep.
Oh, man. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Those were the days. That's memorable. You know what's really memorable that I wish I could forget? I'm going to turn this frying pan into a drying pan.
Oh, that is quality. You can't get mad at that.
I can!
It's just like the Minnesota joke. Like, how can you get mad at these things?
What's really funny to me is that the Minnesota joke, I've literally watched reviews of people from other countries, and they're like, I had no idea what this joke meant. Like, I watched a Steve Reviews where he did a retrospective on the Pokemon movie, and he's like, I literally had to look this up before I got the meaning.
I don't know what this Minnesota joke is.
So Team Rocket shows up in a boat dressed as Vikings, and then Brock says, "I didn't think Vikings were around anymore," and Ash says they're from Minnesota.
Right, sports. Okay.
Yeah, sports. An American sports team.
That's funny.
But then again, I didn't realize that the dub completely changed the characters of most of the people in that movie, so whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, the American soundtrack to that movie is so much better than the Japanese one just because of the stupid pop songs in it. Oh, I love that. When all the Pokemon are fighting and it's just playing that Brothers song. Good stuff. Got me right in the feels as a kid.
Not hard to do.
What, get me in the feels as a kid? No. I was I liked touchy-feely movies.
You still do.
I do. A sucker for a happy ending.
Yeah, I prefer my movies to also have, at least, if not happy, at least positive endings.
But what I think is the funniest thing is how I love horror movies still. Especially horror movies that have semi-happy endings. Oh, it's such a weird thing.
Speaking of horror, or I guess mild horror,
Yeah.
I still remember how angry I was at the what was it? The Mist? The Fog?
I haven't watched either of them.
I don't know if it's called The Mist or The Fog, but it's a horror movie where this mist rolls in and there's things in the mist and it's killing everyone, yada yada.
Yeah.
And the ending is the greatest middle finger on earth. Do you care about spoilers for a movie you may never see?
Not at all. I won't remember them.
Spoilers alert, everyone.
Alright, so spoiler alert for The Mist or whatever it's called.
For a movie you don't even know the name to.
Yeah.
Look, it's dangerous place to be here. But okay, so they start out in a mall and they're trying to survive. Everything goes to shit. They end up leaving a mall and are driving, trying to find a way out of the mist to survive. There's the dad, his kid, and two grandparents. And they run out of gas. Inside the car, they have a gun with enough bullets for all but one of them. So the dad's like, okay, I'm gonna take the shit of this. I'm gonna cap all of you, and then I'm gonna go out and let the monsters eat me because we're fucked. So he murders the grandparents and his son. He gets out of the vehicle prepared to be eaten by monstrous spiders from the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
And the army rolls up with flamethrowers, saves his life, and fights back the mist.
Oh.
If he had waited 2 minutes, he would have
that feels
saved everyone.
bad.
And the end of the movie is just the army wiping out all of the creatures and him screaming it into the sky.
Oh, I hate endings like that. There's several movies that do that, and it's the worst.
Yeah. When I fucking heard about that movie, I remember watching the end of it. No, you fucking can't. I was up late, and I still remember I fucking woke my mom up, and she came sobbing out. What the fuck? Why are you making so much noise? It's 2 a.m. And I was fucking incensed by it. I was so mad. I'd still get mad at that fucking movie. Oh, it's so bad. Because that was an ending that was just designed to trigger you.
You know what I'll never be able to forget for my entire life, and I wish I could?
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Evolutions.
Ooh, that as well as Avatar.
Yeah, I saw both of those in theaters.
Yeah, I did too. I felt robbed.
I did!
Well, like almost as bad. Like I think the only time I ever genuinely contemplated going back and demanding a refund was when I watched the most recent Riddick movie. I don't think I've ever left a movie theater more annoyed / angry than watching that movie and leaving going, I watched half a film. I watched half a fucking film. I paid full price for half. This is a video game? Do I need to buy the DLC for the movie?
Yeah, I never saw the
Fuck
most
is
recent one.
this?
To be honest, all of the Riddick movies except for the first one are pretty bad.
I like the second.
The second's
It's
not
bad,
very
but it's
good
fun.
though. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Like I said, it's bad, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's campy. It's campy.
So far in my life, there was only one movie I walked out of the theater and I just left.
Yeah.
Oh, that bad.
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
You know, uh, there's a YouTuber that I like called Brutal Moose. And for a
Yeah.
video, he decided that he was going to watch Paul Blart every day for a week
Oh no.
and then show his reaction to certain scenes on every day. And it's actually a very interesting video because the emotions are very funny. Because he's like, basically the reason he did it was because when he was a kid, one of his relatives got the movie for him and was like, "This is hilarious, you have to enjoy it." And he's like, "I didn't really like it as a kid, so I'll watch it now and see if I like it." And it's a very funny video.
That sounds awful. Just straight up.
It's very funny because there's parts where at the beginning he's like, "Ha, that joke's kind of funny," and then in some of the other days he's just deadpan, and then later on he's like, "Ha ha ha, it's not funny," as he gets sarcastic over watching it so many times. It's great.
I don't
It's
think there's
fantastic.
any movie that I could sit down and watch every single day, once a day for a week.
There's some movies I could do. There's some movies.
There might be a movie I could do that to, but I couldn't do that or anything. But yeah, I still remember when I went and saw Paul Blart. It was me, my dad, and my brother, and we had seen the commercial. And we're like, it looks like it'll be okay. It's not going to be like the best thing ever, but it's got some funny parts in the commercials. Literally every funny joke was in the commercial. Other than what was in the commercials, it was so horrendously boring.
Yeah,
But
it's not a good movie.
The three of us just left.
There's some pretty memorable deaths in old horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's what I was trying to. I just had a thought and I lost it, but I've remembered it now. Did you guys have to watch the Romeo and Juliet movie when you were in high school?
Which one?
Yeah.
So we watched both. Now, of course, my class really liked the retro one because there was boobs. And then we watched
that one.
Sorry?
I do remember that one now that you say it.
Yeah, I wonder why you remember that one. It was also funny because my teacher was like, all right, yeah. But of course, everyone in the class was like, oh, yeah, let's watch that scene again. But then we watched the Leonardo DiCaprio one. And I don't think there's ever been a movie in existence that has made me more physically angry in my life.
Oh, yeah?
I hate that movie with a burning passion. Just the whole modern aesthetic, but with them still speaking in full Shakespearean, for some reason that combination just enraged me.
Oh, it really pulls your plunkers?
It did. And then there's the part, and this is why it's so memorable to me. There's a part in the movie, where Tybalt dies? So they're fighting in an alley in a thunderstorm, alright? Tybalt gets shot by Romeo. He's standing on a raised ledge. He flings his arms wide, screams to the heavens, lightning flashes, and then he slow motion falls into a puddle.
Damn.
And I was like, I'm done. I'm going home. I don't want to be here anymore.
It's just Nate screaming internally.
It's the whole time. Just the whole time. I also remember watching another movie in school where I have no idea. I have no idea which movie this is. I've no clue. Zero clue. The whole point of the movie was that all babies in this civilization are genetically created in a lab with the best traits from their mom and the best traits from their dad. Having kids just normally is considered really bad because the kids could have genetic problems. So the main character was born when his parents had a fling on the beach. So he has a genetically poor heart in comparison to the rest of whatever. He's fine, but because of the tests, he can't get a certain job. So he really wanted to be an astronaut, okay? So he basically pays an Olympic athlete who was crippled for his DNA so that he can get the job as an astronaut. And I'm pretty sure that the astronaut is played by Ewan McGregor, but that could be me misremembering. I'm pretty sure he is, or the Olympic athlete. Anyways, the reason it's memorable is he's pulling off this whole deception. One of the other coworkers in the office finds out, so he brutally beats their head in with a keyboard, like a computer keyboard.
Damn.
Okay.
And you get to see that scene, and then the next scene is the police picking up the keyboard that is covered in blood and brain matter and putting it into an evidence bag.
Damn.
Yeah, and then the movie ends with him going to space, and the Olympic medalist has nothing left to live for, so he wheels himself into a crematorium and cremates himself.
Damn, hardcore.
Yeah, I don't... Unless I had some weird fever dream, I have no idea what movie this is.
Does not sound familiar.
I've never heard of this. That sounds so strange.
And obviously, I watched this in like grade 10, so I'm probably misremembering it. But the keyboard into the evidence bag, I'm not going to forget that.
That just makes me think of Wanted, where he slaps his coworker in the face with a keyboard.
Well, he does that too, but much more violent.
You could say he's a little more violent. Just a little more.
I'm going to have to figure out what it is. I need to know. The internet is your friend. All right.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because there comes a certain part where it's just going to be a freaking brain worm.
Well, it's one of those things where I've always remembered that movie, but I literally have no idea what it is. And again, it's probably not actually Ewan McGregor, but in my brain it is. So, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, the hard part about that is it's kind of like overwritten, so even if you see it now, you might not recognize it unless it's one of those very specific scenes.
Yeah, and I mean, oh, you know what? Is this it? Yeah, it is. The movie's called Gattaca.
What a weird name.
This is the description of the movie. A genetically inferior man assumes the identity of a superior one in order to pursue his lifelong dream of space travel.
That is one hell of a description.
Oh, I see why I think it was Ewan McGregor. It's not. It's clearly not. But I see why I thought it was. He doesn't look anything like him, but as a kid, they have similar, like, haircut and whatever.
Interesting. So back on the original track we had going.
Yes.
Another thing that I vividly remember was had been following a specific manga series for a long time. I read that thing for like almost 10 years. And the end of the series comes, and I didn't realize the series was over. I was reading the last chapter like, this is almost like they were trying to end the series here. But they haven't like completed the series. They haven't done any of the main important things. The whole mystery thing, none of it's done. And then I get through the first half of the last chapter, and the second half is just describing what a bunch of the characters did in the future after the big events were over. And it's just a moment of like, what is this?
Oh, man, yeah.
That pissed me off so badly. And it turns out it was because the author wanted to come at it from a different angle. So he killed that series and did another series, which takes place after the first one and has a bunch of the characters in it, but just a different main character.
Hey, man. Why do you need to come up with new stuff if you can use your old stuff again? It's fine.
So mad.
Oh, man. Yeah, no. it's really funny because memorable things are always going to be something that was really bad or really good.
Yeah.
Or both. Chris punching that rock is really bad, but man, do I love it.
See, I'd say it's really good.
It's so bad that it's great.
Yeah.
They're remaking 5. If they do not have that in there, I will immediately like stop watching anything about that game.
Oh, it's guaranteed gone.
Nah, if they take it out, they're the worst. Capcom, I know you will never hear this. Do not take out punching the boulder. That had better be in there.
Look, you know Capcom doesn't have a clue what their fans want.
Look, they reference it in one of the more recent games. It's like, well, at least I don't punch boulders.
I still don't believe that it'll be in there.
It's
I
gotta
will be
be.
happy if it is.
It has to be. It has to be in there. They can't take out the boulder punch. I need my Chris-like powers.
We all want the Chris-like powers. I just don't believe it'll happen.
It's fine. We're coming up on the end of our time. Kevin, I want one more. Give me one more.
One more.
Juicy reminiscence.
Probably the first time playing an online game like against other people. So like Call of Duty, I guess would have been the first one.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's kind of like the eye opener to like seeing how people react or act. Just like, holy, it was eye opening because I was like, yeah, sure, like I've gotten mad and I've yelled or shouted at it, but some of these people like make me look like a saint. It's like playing games and all of a sudden it's just like profanity, all the obscenities thrown at you, just screeching at you. It's like, oh.
I still remember in the old days of Xbox Live when my brother got a threatening message after he beat someone in Halo.
Yeah. Yeah, just like that. That's kind of like eye opener. Like, oh, maybe people aren't that nice.
I think they said, was it you, Will, when they were like, I'm going to come to your house and kill you, and you like responded with, when you come, bring pizza?
Okay, so I don't remember this off the top of my head, but that does sound like the stupid thing I would respond. Because I had gotten so many death threats back in our Halo days.
Oh, that was such
I wasn't even that good.
No, it's just people get so mad when they play games. But we're coming up on the 1 hour mark, so I think we'll finish it off here. Anything that you can think of that we haven't talked about? Any really memorable moments you'll be sad if you never see them again?
Here I thought you would talk about the memorable moment of finding out that the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Was going to be on motorcycles and how stupid that is.
No, because I didn't have cable. The only time I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Was if it was on KVOS on Saturdays, and sometimes it was. That's why I like GX, because I saw season 3 of GX on Channel 12. But that was it. That's all I ever watched of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I actually did watch a couple episodes of 5Ds, but at that point it was just like a cartoon I got to watch.
Interesting.
Isn't that all of them?
Is that all of them? I mean, I could keep on talking about cartoon movies and villain deaths for the rest of time, but the main ones I've already said. And I mean, like, there's all sorts of memories in video games that I'll remember, like the first time I fought Ruby Weapon in Final Fantasy VII and got immediately obliterated, even though I had beaten the game and had, like, everything. That was a memory because it was so disappointing. I remember beating the Mana Goddess in Crisis Core and the boss fight literally taking 3 hours because she had 100 million HP or something stupid like that.
3 hours?
Yeah.
You timed yourself, or like you looked at the clock, like, oh, like I started playing at 4.
No, I was in high school and I had like an after school job, and I played it on my first break. I played it on my lunch break and I had to pause. Then I played it on the break after that and paused, and I finished it when I was at home. And I actually lost that one at the end and had to restart.
There are some obscene secret boss battles in especially Final Fantasy.
The issue is, Kevin, that the maximum damage you can ever do in that game is 100k, and she has something like 10 million HP. So you have to somehow chip off all of that HP 10k at a time.
Yep. There are several ones like that. In Final Fantasy Road Trip, there's one that is literally a 3-hour fight with a giant turtle. Because it's got like a bajillion HP, and it's got the highest defense possible.
Yeah, and like in order to beat Ruby Weapon, I followed a guide back then, printed off a GameFAQs and had it in a Duotang. You had to get the golden chocobo so you could get the Knights of the Round Summon, and then give all of your party members Mime, so that you could cast Knights of the Round 4 times a turn. I don't know if you've ever timed how long the Knights of the Round Summon animation is.
Oh, long.
But I did. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds long. And I think me and my friend worked out the math, and to do the boss fight that way would literally take hours.
Yeah.
So we just gave up. We spent a month getting a gold chocobo. And then we're just like, no, I can't. I'm done. We're done. We beat the game. It's over.
Oh, the game beat you.
I couldn't invest any more time. I couldn't do it. That was it. That was the end of it. I was done. I was done. As we are now. So thank you, everybody, for listening. This was a good episode. I got to feel nostalgic, which is always my goal when we do these. What about you guys? How did you feel? Did you have fun?
It reminded me of some annoying things.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're giving me more enjoyment. Thank you. Thank you. But until next time then, guys, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.